Hi there everyone, Josiah here with Womprat Creations again, and for this week's scratch build I am going to be doing another piece of Star Wars wall art. That's right, and I am super excited for this. Today's wall art is going to be, well, essentially this. For those of you who do not recognize this, this is the sign that appears on the docking bay wall in Mos Eisley, where the Millennium Falcon is parked on their time in the on the planet on Tatooine. And this is commonly referred to as Docking Bay 94. I'm going to take people's word for it because I can't read this, but it does kind of look like a 94. This, you know, kind of is a 4, and this, I mean, you can kind of see a 9 in this one. Anyways, I'm going to be building this as a piece of wall art, and this is directly inspired by Regal Robots' Docking Bay 94 sign that they have on their website, which is awesome. I'm going to be changing it up just a little bit. It's not going to be strictly canon, but that's okay. I think we both know that replicas aren't quite my thing. I like to get close and then tweak it just a little bit. But you might have also noticed that the edges of this have funny looking teeth on them. And yes, you are correct. They are not my typical square cuts for all of these. These are all the pieces right here. I have a bunch of side pieces and a back, and they all have these funny teeth things on the side. We'll get into that. The first thing that I need to do is, because these were cut on my X-Carve out of MDF, I need to seal my wood so that it can be painted. So let's get to that. So all of my pieces have been coated with a sealer so that none of the paint absorbs into the wood and ruins it. It's a whole pain when that happens. So everything has been coated with a couple coats of sealer. I have sanded it down just a little bit with some 320 grit sandpaper, and now I can get on to some painting. Now, before I get into that, because this wall art is supposed to be from Tatooine, where everything is already kind of a sand color, I'm not going to be painting this entire piece. I'm actually going to keep this color of the MDF because it's really close to a sandy Tatooine-ish color. So that being said, I am going to do a little bit of airbrush work to kind of weather this up a little bit. And I'm probably really only going to be weathering the top portion. Since this is going to live on a wall, this front face is really all you're gonna see. So I am gonna get to work on, weathering our front face, and not really sure how this is gonna turn out. I have an idea of what I wanna do, but we'll see. All right, so I have my front face weathered, and this is looking pretty good. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but I think this is still gonna work out just fine. I think it'll be a cool effect once we're all done. You saw that I didn't have any paper down, and I was just using the inside of the back piece to protect my workbench from the overspray. That's one of the nice things about using an airbrush is you don't have a giant spray area like you do with a spray paint can. But now that I'm done with that, there's one more thing that I need to do to our front face before I get on to assembly. And that is I need to add some acrylic to the back because, that's right, I am adding LEDs to this because it'd be kind of lame if it didn't light up, right? I mean, it's going to be sitting on the wall. The least it can do is look really, really cool. So for that, I have a piece of clear acrylic here. And once I get one of these protective paper sides off of this, I'm going to scuff up one side of this with some sandpaper. Because this is a fairly shallow box and I'm going to have LEDs under this, I don't want to have hot spots on the acrylic. I don't want to have spots where you can see the individual LEDs. So I'm going to try to rough up one side of the acrylic so that hopefully it'll help diffuse the light coming from the LEDs inside and not give me any hot spots. I missed. All right, now I've scuffed up the back of this with one grit of sandpaper, and in order to really see if that's going to work, I need to take off the other side of this paper. All right, time for redemption. I didn't make it again. But this is still looking a little less than, yeah, see, it's a little better, but I want a little more diffusion than that. So I'm just gonna get out my palm sander and make this really quick. All right, and to be honest, not much of this is going to be seen through the the front face of my project, so it doesn't need to be like perfect, but still. That should be good. I'm pretty happy with that. That should be fine. So now that this has been diffused on one side, I'm going to put the nice clean side. Let me make sure it's clean first. All right, I'm gonna put the nice clean side onto the back face of our front face and glue it down with some super glue. All right. All right. That should be good. Doesn't need to be aligned super nice. I just need to make sure it covers all the space that I need, and that should work out fine. I'm going to use these clamps to make sure that it's pressed onto there really nicely. All right, and while that super glue is setting, I'm gonna get to work on assembling my back half of the whole apparatus. And then with the sides and everything, I'll get the LED strips put down, and then we should get on to final assembly. This is the kind of build I like. It's not too complicated. It's not giving me any crazy anxiety that I might not be able to pull it off. Of course, I'm saying all this and, something's gonna come up. It always does, but that's okay. Let's get on to some pre-assembly. So since we're getting onto some assembly, now is a good time to talk about these little slots all over all of my pieces. These are little finger slots, and these are both well, in this case, it is mainly an aesthetic choice. I didn't want to get too crazy with the design on the front plate, but I still wanted it to be more interesting than just a wood square with a sign carved into it. So I chose to do these finger joints on the sides, but the way that I did them is a wonderful free resource called makercase.com. They allow you to set the dimensions of whatever kind of box you need, the kind of joints you want, and then it will give you a layout that you can use for laser cutting or CNC machining, or you could even print it out as a PDF and then use it as a template for more traditional means of cutting out your pieces. But I will say that I have not figured out a way to make this work super well with the CNC. I think this is more meant for laser cutters. So these pieces fit together fine, but they're not going to be as snug as it should be for these kinds of joints. But that's okay, because I kind of wanted that for this look. I wanted it to not be exactly perfect. So keep that in mind when I'm putting this together, but you should definitely go check out makercase.com. They have, like I said, it's free, and it's a really cool program that they have there. It's super easy to use, and it's not difficult at all. So I am gonna get to gluing this up, and that's right, I'm gonna be getting out my pin nailer again. Man, I love that thing. my wall art is done, and now I have a small piece of the Mos Eisley spaceport in my shop, and I think it looks great. I wasn't able to eliminate the hot spots like I was saying. You can kind of tell where the LEDs are, but that's okay. I think this came out really nicely. I still like the look of it. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. And just like my last wall art project, the file for this that'll have all of the dimensions, or if you have a CNC or laser cutting machine, you could just plug the file right into that. But if not, you could just use it to get measurements. But the file for this will be free on my website. So you can go down in the description, the link will be there, check that out. But thank you guys, as always, for tuning in for another Scratch Build. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Hey, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it. That lets you know every time that we come out with a video so that you don't miss a thing, and it really helps us out with keeping the lights on over here. Thanks, guys.
517 to scanner control. 517 to scanner control. 316, report to control. 53 to upper bay door. 53 to upper bay door.